Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are Florida.
Miami tonight, the Marlins will try to bounce back. The Pirates in town with a lot of swagger and a 10-0 win last night to fish a game over. The Pirates trying to chase down the Cubs in the Central. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Preston Wilson, Marlins and Pirates. About last night, this may be the best offensive team from top to bottom in the National League, these Pirates.
From top to bottom, they may be the best. They have speed, they have power. They slug up and down the lineup. They're one of the most balanced attacks I've seen in a while.
And it was all on display last night. It was impressive. Clint Hurdle's Buccos came in here. Jung Ho Gong, Josh Harrison. First of all, batting average, that's tops in the National League. You want speed? They've got that too.
Well, they got guys that can flat out go like Harrison. Starling Marte is a 30 stolen base guy. Polanco can run. McCutcheon can run.
On base, slugging. The Pirates are top 5 in the National League in those as well. So we've established with 10 runs and all of the numbers that the Pirates are very good offensively, which sets the stage for a Jose Fernandez start tonight. Jose watched last night, certainly. Lately, he's been brilliant. Look at the month of May that he's had.
He's made a tremendous turnaround in his efficiency. He's throwing a lot more quality strikes now. He's getting ahead of batters, not throwing some guys that he shouldn't be messing around with off-speed stuff. He's just staying with his fastball when it works, and that's getting him deeper into the games. And when a guy's supposed to be your ace, you want him out there past the 5th inning into the 6th and 7th.
Miami's hitters, though, have to face Pittsburgh's ace tonight. And Garrett Cole's last 4 starts, he's been brilliant. Those are his season numbers.
His fastball may be one of the best in the game, and he's a bulldog. He really matches Fernandez with that type of intensity. This is going to be a great ball game to watch because Garrett Cole is one of the top guys, and we know Jose Fernandez likes that challenge.
The aces are here. Garrett Cole going for Pittsburgh, Jose Fernandez going for Miami. A Jose Day at Marlins Park on an email and Twitter Tuesday. Jessica Blaylock joins us when we return. The presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Taste of Miami going full bore on a Jose day as Jose Fernandez collides with Garrett Cole and the Pirates. Let's go down below. Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Hey, Rich, Jose Fernandez has been so dominant this season. He already has 90 strikeouts on the year and an ERA of 2.82, and he is also the theme of our Twitter and email Tuesday driven by Ford. Tonight, it's all about the hashtag Jose Day. What is your favorite thing about watching Jose pitch? What's your favorite Jose Day memory? Share it with us. Send your tweets to @FoxMarlins. Those emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com, and don't forget to use the hashtag Jose Day. And guys, for me personally, my favorite Jose Day memory was his first start after coming back from Tommy John surgery. Not only was he so good on the mound that day, he also hit a home run.
So how about that? Here he comes, Jose Fernandez and the Fish. Garrett Cole and the Pirates, they're about to collide at Marlins Park. Pair of aces on the hill. Marlins out to revenge last night's waxing at the hands of the Buccos. First pitch coming up. In Miami tonight, Jose Fernandez got the cap, got the glove, got the start. As the Marlins and the Pirates play Game 2. Pirates winners big last night by a 10-0 score. What a lineup. Maybe the best offense in the National League. And it's brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
John Zacho gets it started. Andrew McCutchen batting second. I want to jump around here. Look to Starling Marte. This guy, I think, is one of the more underrated dynamic players in the league. Hits for high average, steals a lot of bases, got a gold glove. And Josh Harrison, he is the heartbeat of this team. He's the guy that makes it go. He's usually in the middle of all their rallies, and he's in the middle of all their fun in the dugout, too.
Jump around. They did a lot of that last night. And here is Fernandez. Lots of numbers to pick from. The one on the bottom maybe the most impressive. He leads Major League Baseball in strikeout rate, strikeouts per 9 innings pitched at 13.5. Fernandez has won 6 consecutive starts. The last Marlin to win 7 consecutive starts was a Marlin and a Pirate, A.J. Burnett, who did that back in 2005. Miami's defense tonight. The start of the outfield is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Christian Yelich, Marcell Ozuna. No Giancarlo Stanton yet. Don Mattingly said he was available last night to pinch hit, and he's available tonight to pinch hit. Chris Johnson gives Martin Prado a much-needed day off at third. Danny Echeverria at short. Derek Dietrich back in at second base. Justin Boers at first. And JT Realmuto is behind the plate. John Jaso stretching and getting ready. They'll lead it off for the Pirates, who come in at 29 and 21. Jaso, a bit of a platoon at first base. Last night, David Freese from the other side of the plate had 4 hits, including 3 doubles. And so here's Jose. If you want one more number before he throws a pitch, on this mound in 31 starts, he is 21-1. He's lost 1 game in his career at home. First pitch fastball misses down low. Marvin Hudson calling balls and strikes tonight. Fernandez has faced the Pirates, but it was eons ago, 2013. Right up the middle and right to Echeverria, and there's 1 out.
I like it. I like 2 fastballs, attacking the hitters, let your defense play for you. This is the formula that has gotten him hot in this past month. I'd love to see him stick with it again today.
And that's certainly something the Marlins started in spring training to counsel Fernandez on. Get quick outs early, get yourself into the 7th inning, and he's been able to do that certainly in this month of May. Here is McCutchen now, who was 1 for 5 last night. Jam shot of a fastball at 95 miles an hour. Jose Fernandez made 2 starts back in 2013 against the Pirates. 1-0 with a 2.77 ERA. They haven't seen him since. He hasn't seen them since. McCutchen had just 1 at bat in those 2 games and was 0 for 1. Last time out, he was outstanding back in his somewhat hometown. Counts 1-2.
That's a good slider right there. Showed him a fastball, then all of a sudden drops a slider on him. Look at the rotation on it, how tight and late it is. Oh, that ball breaks sharply and late.
Fastball, and it missed low and outside. And Fernandez was pitching in the ballpark where he went to his first major league game. That pitch actually had the plate and it had the knees. That was a perfect pitch. In St. Pete at the Trop, where Jose punched out a dozen. 2-2. Fastball. Wow. That came rolling in at 98 miles an hour.
You know, and I think that's the importance of trying to get Jose to not be all out every pitch. The first fastball in this at bat was 94 miles an hour. Now with 2 strikes, those last 2 fastballs were 98. Trying to reach back and get a little bit more, but you can change that when you aren't max effort from the very first pitch, and it's harder for a hitter to handle the difference in fastball speeds.
All right, McCutchen did not offer at that slider. We'll see what happens here at 3-2. Gregory Polanco is on deck. Breaking ball pulled foul. Whenever Andrew McCutchen comes to Miami, there are friends and family that come down from Fort Meade, Florida, central part of the state. It's where he grew up. He was a football star and a baseball star. Injured his leg late in his high school career in football and decided to go baseball. Turned into a really good decision.
I think he did it right. Yeah, I mean, he is so good. He's one of those guys that no matter where he plays, he's gonna stand out. He's just got that type of talent.
Bouncer in the hole. Long throw. Echeverria. Quick release, and he got him. Wow. With McCutchen running, Echeverria didn't have much time.
I am often astonished at how quickly he sets his feet. His body control has always been good. But his arm seems like, to me, it's even stronger this year than it has been the past couple of years. He's made some throws that seem improbable, and he makes them work this year.
So 2 outs, and here is Polanco. The start of last night's game, we reminded everybody how well Polanco had played in this facility in his young career. And so what does he do? He goes out and hits a grand slam, goes 2 for 4, scores 2 runs. You see the numbers. The 500 average, that's 16 of 32. Scored 8 runs. His OPS is almost 1,300 in this part. Last night, this was the crushing blow. Grand slam to right center field. (2-0) on the black. And a strike, and it's 2-1. And he's the youngest of the outfielders. The highest ceiling maybe of the outfielders. Polanco at 24. Marte is 27. McCutchen, the old man, at 29.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-1. Changeup. Missed out. You heard Jose wasn't pleased with it. And the count 3-1. Changeup, a pitch that Fernandez refined when he was coming back from Tommy John surgery. That fastball is popped foul and out of play, and the count 3-2.
I know sometimes you have to use it, and that may not have been a bad spot, but I like to see when Jose Fernandez goes that first time through the order using mostly fastballs and then starts introducing other pitches later. That seems to me is when he's at his most effective point.
Backdoor breaking ball, and he went after it. And Jose Fernandez goes 1-2-3 in the first. Garrett Cole gets the ball when we return. Good start for Jose Fernandez and Marcell Ozuna in the dugouts. Giancarlo Stanton still not in the starting lineup, available to pinch hit. With that in mind, here's the Marlins lineup brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Chasing 3,000 is Ichiro at the top of the lineup. JT Realmuto is second. Christian Yelich is in the 3-hole. In the middle, we got Ozuna, Bohr, and Dietrich. In the bottom third, Chris Johnson, Danny Echeverria, and Jose Fernandez the Kid.
Garrett Cole, 25-year-old who was outstanding last year, 4th in the Cy Young voting, an all-star last season. Big man, 6'4", 230. And he pitches like a big man. 44 strikeouts, 16 walks. You see his last 4 starts. The Pirates have won all 4 of those games. He's 3-0, and fastball starts Ichiro's night out, up and in. Cole's beaten the Cardinals and the Cubs on the road and the Rockies in those starts, and that one fouled back. Ichiro getting the start. The Marlins short on the bench. Miguel Rojas, the shoulder issue last night. Giancarlo Stanton, of course, not starting. Ichiro takes what looked like an off-speed pitch for a strike, and it's 1-2. Good changeup right at the letters. Fastball, Ichiro fouls it back. There's a look at Miguel Rojas. Ichiro, little looper out into left, and it's caught there by Jordy Mercer, who didn't play last night but gets the start tonight. For the Pirates, we complete the defense with Southwest Airlines. The outfield of Starling Marte, Andrew McCutchen, and Gregory Polanco. Jung-Ho Kang at third base. Jordy Mercer at short. Josh Harrison at second. John Jaso, the former Ray, at first. And Francisco Cervelli coming off a nice night last night and a terrific year last year. For Clint Hurdle, in his 6th year, the miracle worker. Turned the Rockies around, got them to a World Series. Walked into an awful situation in Pittsburgh, and with help from the front office, stopped a long losing streak and got the Pirates into the postseason. That was 2013, and they've been in the postseason ever since, in 14 and in 15. JT Realmuto got a breaking ball, and he lines it into left field. The Marlins have a base runner with 1 out here in the first.
All right, let's take a look at Garrett Cole here. Fan from afar. He was born and raised in California, but grew up a Yankee fan. But he shunned his heroes when he got drafted by the Yankees in the first round. He turned down first-round money to go to UCLA. And triple-digit heat, well, he can reach 102.
He just wanted to follow in the footsteps of Jeff Conine, a former UCLA Bruins pitcher. Yelich at the plate, and Realmuto chased back. Marlins lineup has been scrambled for sure with the injury to Stanton. Yelich's back issue had him out of the lineup. Don Mattingly's had different guys in that leadoff spot, in the 2 spot. But Yelich is back, and he slots in front of Marcell Ozuna, and with a right-hander on the mound, that puts Justin Bour behind Ozuna. Yelich an 0 for 3 last night. Pops that one foul and out of play. Now, we talked about the Pirates having not seen Jose for a good long while. The Marlins have seen Cole, and they've hit him. Yelich in particular, who was 3 for 8 with 2 home runs against this burly right-hander. Fastball up. Versus Miami, 4 starts. Last year was 2-0 against Miami, and a lot of Pirate pitchers have that same record or similar success because Pittsburgh's dominated this series lately, having won 19 of the last 25 meetings. Cole's up with a fastball at 98. Counts 3-1. Marcell Ozuna waits on deck. Yelich fouls it off. And we told you last night that the Marlins running game really has slowed down since D. Gordon left and was suspended. The Fish have not stolen a base in 17 games. But with a full count, 1 out, and Yelich at the plate, we'll see if Real Muto is on the move. Not a big lead. He is running. Taken down low, ball 4. Good jump. But it matters not because Yelich is trotting to first, and this sets up nicely for Marcell Ozuna.
Marcel's been one of, if not the hottest hitter in the National League this month. His approach has been so steady. He hasn't gotten outside of himself trying to do too much. He seems to be staying with that program that Menachino and Bonds have set for him. It is working out nicely. Great numbers.
Ozuna climbs in. His name dotting the league leaders in the National League in some impressive categories. Swings and misses at a slider. His batting average is 4th in the National League. His slugging percentage is 4th. 3rd in hits. Ozuna 0 for 3 last night. Cole gets a strike. So slider and fastball. And just like that, it's 0-2. Fastball in. I asked Marcell Ozuna today, what's the most important thing you've learned from Barry Bonds? And he smiled and he said, patience. Patience. His chase rate is down. His walk rate is up. As I described, all the other numbers are up. And that's a pitch that oftentimes we've described this year that would have been a swing and a miss last year. Count 2-2.
Well, he looks like he's starting to think like a hitter now. You know, sometimes you could be in a batter's box and you're just on raw talent, but he's starting to think along with the process.
Fastball bouncer slowly hit to third. Gung on the move and just half a step before Ozuna crossed the bag. There's 2 outs. Real Muto to third, Yelich to second, and here comes Justin Bour. Quiet night for the Marlin bats last night, as left-hander Jeff Locke was, for a guy that struck out just 1, very, very impressive. Bour takes a fastball for a strike. Bour was not in the lineup. Neither was Derek Dietrich. Dietrich came in after Rojas aggravated that shoulder. But Bour got a night off, and there's Dietrich right behind. He's in the 6th spot tonight. Fastball, fly ball, left field deep in the corner. Marte over, and there in foul territory, he makes the catch. Garrett Cole strands 2, scoreless after 1.
Disponible en español a través del SAT y es presentado a ustedes por Kendall Toyota y West Kendall Toyota.
Taste of Miami. There's Madre y Abuela for Jose Fernandez in this start against the Pirates. Jung-Ho Kang, Starling Marte, and Francisco Cervelli. Fernandez fires a strike to the Korean third baseman, who has been such an impact guy for the Pirates. Breaking ball. That's a strike. It's 0-2. Jose had a couple of ground balls to short and a strikeout in the first. Kang last night 1 for 5 with an RBI. Emails and tweets tonight. You throw out the ceremonial first tweet. It's from Mr. Dimples. When's the last time you actually ran the 10-run reel, and what's been added since? Kang, little tapper. Jose has it. Flips to first in time to get the out. For those of you that don't know, on Marlins television, Fox Sports Florida, the 10-run reel is a collection of some of the wildest, funniest, coolest stuff that we've picked up over the last 10, 11, 12 years. Bloopers, light moments, great Marlins moments, and we have that 10-run reel in a locked steel briefcase, and it comes out when one team goes ahead by 10 runs, one way or the other. Now, last night it turned into a 10-0 game, but it was so late in the game there was no time to get down the stairs, remember the combination lock, get the 10-run reel, and load it up. So we haven't run it this year. We haven't had that opportunity, but hopefully soon. And the second part of that question, what's been added since then? One of the things that has been rumored to be on it now, bat flips. That one driven, foul, and out of play. Bat flips, and we're talking some of the most audacious bat flips from the Korean League to Little League to Japan, all over the world. Some of the best bat flips you've never seen. Sunday fastball blisters in at 97. Counts 2-2.
That's an important pitch right there. 2-1. And he stays with the fastball. I like that. He's trusting the fastball.
Sharply hit. Echeverria loads up again. Safe. Close, but safe. Starling Marte can really run, and that was the difference in that play. A look, back of glove, foot on bag. He is safe.
Good stretch by Borg. Just too much speed on the base paths to get that one.
You could actually hear Marte's foot hit the bag.
Yes.
Before the glove sounded with the ball in it. So Marte and Josh Harrison, a two-man wrecking crew when it comes to speed and balls on the infield. And he may not be at first base for long, although Jose is not easy to steal against.
He's pretty quick to home, and he varies his looks. He'll hold. He'll go quick sometimes.
Francisco Cervelli for the Pirates. Yeah, opposing base stealers just 1 for 5 this year against Jose. Marte's not even taking a lead. He's asking for time, but he's not getting it from the first base umpire. Marte a couple times turned to the first base umpire, James Hoy, and asked for time while he was trying to put that contraption on his right hand. And Jose just keeps firing at the plate. It counts 2-1.
See, with the sliding mid on there to protect the hands. Head first slider.
Generally, umpires will not give you time for that, especially now with the pace of play initiative from Major League Baseball. Now Marte is starting to get out there and get a little more aggressive with his lead. He's running on the bag and waiting. Real Muto throws him out. 1 of 6 now against Jose.
Now he's so quick to the plate. That wasn't a really good jump by Marte right there. You see he took off well after Jose was into his motion. And with JT Realmuto's pop-up time, if that throw was anywhere on the bag, they're going to get him. And that's a good job right there, getting that ball right on target. The throw out, that's a 30 stolen base guy they just threw out right there.
Johnson crossed the diamond, and Jose Fernandez gives up a hit. Real Muto erases it. It's a scoreless ball game and a fun one. It's Chevron Crazy 8. Wednesday is tomorrow. Fill up your car with Chevron with Techron gasoline. Bring your receipt to Marlins Park, and you can choose between 2 Lexus Legends level tickets or 1 home plate box ticket for just $28. Visit your local Chevron dealer today. That's Marlins and Pirates tomorrow night. Derek Dietrich, Chris Johnson, Danny Echeverria against Garrett Cole. And a fastball foul back to the screen. Dietrich, of course, that terrific Sunday, yet a painful one in Atlanta. A 2-run homer, a 2-run double, a 3-for-3 day, and a baseball in the back of the head while sitting on the bench. One that snuck through the entrance of the dugout at Turner Field. But no symptoms of concussion. Came into the ball game yesterday, and he starts tonight. It's a swing, and it's 1-2.
Garrett Cole has really become a much better pitcher with his breaking ball lately. He's starting to be able to backdoor it. He'll do that back foot slider to lefties.
'97 with the fastball, and not only is he high velocity, but he's high velocity up. He elevates that fastball, and that is hard to hit at that velocity, up in your hands, up around the letters. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Earlier today, running a comparison, just the numbers that Dietrich has put up against D. Gordon, because of course Gordon is the guy that Dietrich replaced. Oh, that's a swing. This is Jim Joyce, and Dietrich goes down.
does, and you got a guy who throws that hard. Got to try to get it going a little bit when you're looking for that fastball, and when that slider comes on that same plane and it breaks late, you don't recognize it. It's hard to hold up.
Thus the importance of throwing 97 with elevation.
Yes.
Now Johnson, fastball for a strike. Chris, the start last night in 0 for 3, and he gets to start at third base. Martin Prado getting the night off.
I think King just had a great time for him. I think he needed a day off. You could see him getting a little frustrated. His body language is starting to change.
Johnson, a busted bat single to left. Got the hands through. Second hit for Miami.
Well, that is one danger of a guy pitching up in the zone. When you break bats, you can still get that ball through for a base hit when it's up in his zone. Usually, if it's down, it's an easy ground ball, but he was able to get enough on it to get it through the infield.
Echeverria now. Just fouled on the first base line. Emails and tweets tonight. DMC wants to know when will start. Actually, this is T-Bone. When will Stanton start again? Tomorrow night might not be a bad night. You got a lefty and Jonathan Neese. Stanton available to pinch hit in tonight's ball game. Look out. Don Mattingly saying that he was available last night as well. There's the matchup. Lefties with Neese and Adam Conley. Had a very good batting practice session. Jeff Conine described it on Marlins Live as free and easy. We should all be so lucky. Etch sprays it out to Harrison at second, and the Pirates will get just the lead runner Johnson. And it brings up Jose Fernandez. Andrew wants to know if there's a batting title for pitchers, would Jose win it? Actually, there's a silver slugger for pitchers, and no, he wouldn't. I would think Madison Bumgarner would be a pretty good choice. Garrett Cole homered and doubled in his last start. Lil Tapper, Jaso off the bag, flips. Cole is there. Jose retired. Both right-handers look sharp tonight. Tough night for hitters so far. Marlins baseball, Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica by the Florida Department of Transportation. Reminding you, drive sober or get pulled over by your local Toyota dealer. Let's go places by Jose Fernandez, who's throwing hard, and by Josh Harrison, who leads it off here in the third. Harrison, Mercer, and Cole, bottom third of the order for the Pirates. Ball and a strike. Harrison against the right-hander, back down in the lineup. Pulls that one just wide of the bag. He was in the leadoff spot last night. Had a double, a single, a stolen base, and a run scored. Mark wants to know, how come you guys don't have Fox tracks up on every pitch like some other telecasts do? Do you pay by the pitch? No. It's an option. It's something we've toyed with. There are some telecasts that keep it up the whole time. There are others that pop it in every now and then. What we try to do is bring it up when there's a borderline pitch, whether a pitcher or a hitter has a disagreement, or whether there's a pattern, as an illustration to show you how a pitcher is pitching a certain hitter. That's a little looper. Dietrich won't get it, and it's a base hit for Harrison.
You know, we understand why some people like it up all the time, but it does occupy a little bit of space on the screen. So when you're watching a game, you know, I think some people like to see the full screen. Some people may prefer to have the Fox track up there the whole time, but it takes up a pretty good chunk of the screen when you leave it up there the whole time.
Oftentimes there are pitches where I will actually talk back to the truck on a channel that you can't hear and ask John Stolzer, our producer, and say, hey, can you show us where that was? Because you never know, and it's a very valuable tool for a lot of reasons. In this ballpark, a strike to Jordy Mercer. You have a pretty good look from center field, almost, but not quite, but almost a true straight line from center right down to the plate. So you get to see inside and out pretty clearly. But in a lot of parks, the center field camera is offset, which means it's on the third base side, and so you don't get a clean look or have a good perspective to see in and out. See on the Fox tracks where that pitch is at the knees and on the black. Breaking ball. Jordy Mercer goes down. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, you were mentioning earlier how tough Jose Fernandez is to steal on. It's not just this year, it's been his career. In fact, he's allowed only 8 stolen bases in his entire career. That's over 350 innings, and you'll see the numbers now. Caught stealings up to 11, nothing last year in 64 and change, and only 6 stolen bases in 172 innings. Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, said the reason is he's just so quick to the plate. That 1.0 to 1.1 time from the movement of his delivery to crossing the plate is about as good as it gets. And when one team, you notice, started to time his delivery, comes to the belt, set pitches, he's changed that up too. So those two factors are the key. And if you give JT, a good catcher like him, a chance, more often than not, he's going to throw you out.
Garrett Cole bunts. Real Muto on to first in time. So Cole pushes Harrison into scoring position on a night where it feels like every little run is going to count. If you can't watch the games on television, you can now stream the Marlins live on your mobile device with the new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports Florida and the Marlins wherever you go. Fernandez now gets John Jaso, who bounced to short back in the first. Jaso, really a fascinating guy, not just for his hair, but for his playing style and his numbers in his career. He's always been a really high on base guy. Spent 9 years in the Rays organization, a couple seasons with Oakland, a year with Seattle. And now Pittsburgh has him, and has him in somewhat of a platoon at first. He was a catcher for a good part of his career, though he did not catch last year. Clint Hurdle had him in left and in right field. fouls it back. His career on base, 361, which is very, very good.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that really helped transform this lineup a little bit, because they didn't really have a true leadoff guy for a few years now. And this guy with his own base percentage allows Gregory Polanco to move down in that lineup. You know, we look at what Jose Fernandez has done. A lot more fastballs. It's predominantly fastball. He's throwing a few breaking balls. See McCutchen, the big guys in the middle, he mixed it up a lot more. But Marte, he just pumped 5 straight fastballs. Cervelli, 3 fastballs, 2 off-speed pitches. So he's been predominantly fastball, and that's going to help him later in the game.
In what sense?
Well, when you don't show a hitter all your pitches, now you have something to surprise them with later in the game. And it can be a pitch that might bail you out of in a bat where you got runners in scoring position.
Sharp breaking ball, Jaso. A swing and a miss, and down he goes.
Hey, hey.
Jose Fernandez looks sharp tonight, but so does Garrett Cole. This game's scoreless. Check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Rich. Well, it is an email and Twitter Tuesday with the theme Jose Day. Earlier today, I had a chance to talk to JT Realmuto. I asked him, hey, what do you love about catching Jose? And he said, the thing I love most about Jose Fernandez, he is not afraid of any hitter. You know that every game, every hitter, he is going to be on the attack. And that is the thing I love most about Jose, the fact that he is a pure competitor. And Don Mattingly earlier today echoing those same sentiments. He said, it is just so much fun to watch when Jose Fernandez is on the mound.
It certainly is, and I think somewhere the sideline announcer for the Pittsburgh Pirates is doing the same hit on Garrett Cole. Ichiro spanks one into center field, and that's a base hit.
Yeah, Garrett Cole had a little chuck and duck action right there, didn't he? Man's 42 years old and can still throw out some frozen ropes like this. Watch this thing. Wow. Right back where it came from. That's a pretty thing.
The hit counter, 2,962. Sam Crawford is up next. The authenticator with that ball coming out of play. Realmuto at the plate. In contrast to Fernandez, Garrett Cole is a guy you can run on. Base stealers are 7 of 8 in stolen bases this year against Cole.
And most stolen bases you do steal against the pitcher. They talked about Jose's time being at 1-0, 1-1 time. For me as a base stealer, if a guy was 1-3, I knew I could get him. If he was 1.3 seconds or slower, from the time he moved to the time the ball got to home plate, I knew I could get that stolen base. It was a little bit dicey between 1-2 and 1-3, depending on who was catching. But anybody over 1-3, I felt like I had that bag.
Both these catchers are really good catch and throw guys. That one into left field. That's a base hit. Real Muto's second hit. Ichiro headed for third. Strong arm. Ichiro in there, and Real Muto follows to second.
Yeah, great base running by JT Real Muto, realizing that Marte took that chance to throw that ball to third. He's got to come up and throw that ball to second. You're not going to get Ichiro on that play. You got to throw that ball to second to keep your team in double play order. But good heads-up base running by JT, realizing that he's a trail runner. That throw is going to third. He can go into second base easily. Now they got 2 minutes scoring position. See him breathing it round up, and he goes. I know that ball is towards the line. He can't get me. I got a decent jump.
Yelich now. Real Muto at second. And it's going to go as a double, which probably will be changed.
Yeah, I believe that should be changed. I can't say that was a clear double off the bat, and the advance came on the throw.
More importantly, infield back except Gung at third. Mercer and Harrison up the middle, and Jaso at first are back. And so if Yelich can put it in play past the mound on the ground, Miami will have a run with Ichiro at third, Real Muto, the trail runner at second. Here's a look at JT out of the box. Found the throw and took the bag. Yelich walked back in the first. Fastball strike 1 and 2. Well, you can see Cervelli, once he tapped his glove in the dirt, he had a pretty good idea it was going to be that slider.
Got it down there. Sometimes if they hit it too hard, though, as a hitter, you can hear that. And then some catchers will try to decoy you, too.
Yeah, he threw it again, and this time he tucked it nicely just inside the plate. A strikeout for Cole. Here comes Ozuna. And a little taste of what makes Garrett Cole so tough. Preston, you illustrated that in an earlier inning. His breaking stuff now, the curveball and that tight slider is taking him to even newer heights.
Yeah, he's becoming more and more complete every year. He's continuing to learn, continuing to work. And when you can throw 97 to 100 with breaking stuff, that's also effective. That's a pretty good combination to have.
Great test of Marcell Ozuna's patience in this at bat. Tight game, aces on the mound. Miami, the first big opportunity. Second and third, and 1 out. And with Stanton out of the lineup now for the almost past week, Ozuna has been the constant. He's been the bat that has kept on hitting. Finds himself in Stanton's spot in the order, hitting cleanup.
Well, Ozuna might get one pitch to hit this at bat, but I don't think they're really going to even try to pitch to him.
Fastball chopper to third. Runner coming home. In a rundown is Ichiro. Real Muto needs to take third. The flip, and Ichiro is out. Ozuna to second. The throw is wide. Real Muto gets to third. It's the proper play for Ichiro. On contact, he forced Gung to come to the plate, and then he hung in the rundown long enough for the runners to move up. And Cole's fortunate that throw didn't end up in center field.
Yeah, very fortunate. That's one of those you just let the play in. Don't try to add any more to it. I got to say, Ichiro was definitely out of the base paths when he made that turn to go home for the last trot.
Well, he was, but he wasn't. As he turns, he establishes his path. And if there's nobody swiping at him, if he deviated from that path for 3 feet one side or the other, he'd be out. But you're right. It's
It was wide.
he did. A wide berth for sure. Bohr now is flied out.
It's like when you're in the yard when you're a kid and you're playing tag. You're trying to get away from him.
Backdoor breaking ball. Effective on lefties. He struck Yelich out with it. That was the big out of the inning. And then Ozuna's bouncer went to Gung at third. 0-1. Bohr fouls it at the plate, and now Cole is a strike away from wriggling out of a second and third and nobody out spot. Oh, 2. That is strike 3 called. Garrett Cole, Pittsburgh's ace, looking like it. And the Marlins come up empty. Marlins. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
He's hanging out with all his friends out there.
I wasn't going to say that, but since you did. Hernandez opens the fourth with a letter high fastball for a strike.
Sometimes you just need some alone time, Rich.
And Andrew McCutchen, Gregory Polanco, Jung Ho Gung, and that one's fouled off. Fernandez in his 3 innings has 3 strikeouts. He's given up 2 hits and has 4, well, I guess for a sacrifice bunt, if you count that, 5 ground ball outs. That would be 96, and that would be a strikeout of McCutchen.
I love it when I see Jose Fernandez just stick with his fastball.
Pirates and Marlins tomorrow, 7:10 start. Kids eat free on Wednesdays. Kids 12 and under get a free KMB Frank, bag of Frito-Lay chips, small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Marlins.com for tickets. Here is Polanco. Polanco seems to be busting through and reaching the point that many had expectations for him. I mean, it's one thing to have promise, it's another thing to start playing like that promise, and he's doing it. And for the Pirates, that is a beautiful thing. 393 on base, 565 slug. Added to that outfield, Marte had the Gold Glove year last year. Hit 19 homers, swiped 30 bags. Polanco stole 27 bases last year, 35 doubles and 9 homers. Hits that a mile, but it's foul. And the count's 0-2. But this year, already with 18 doubles, 8 homers. UD.
There he is.
Oh-2 coming to Polanco. Jung Ho Kang is on deck. And it's 1-2. The pitch count of these two guys, these two aces, pretty similar. Cole finished his 3 innings at 49. Jose's got an out in his 4th inning. He's at 54 now with the ball in the dirt. And it's 2-2. Right field, Ichiro. And there's 2 outs. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready for Adam Conley's start against Jonathan Neese. Craig Minervini, Jeff Cohen, I have it for you. It's Marlins Live. It's tomorrow at 6:30. Emails and tweets tonight. Kang takes down low. Rick wants to know what happens to all the baseballs that are authenticated leading up to the 3,000th hit.
It's a great question.
It is. I would expect you need to have them, and it's not just because of Ichiro, but any player in Major League Baseball that's approaching 3,000 hits or a home run record. Bonds' great home run chase. They will there's 2 things. They will authenticate the balls, and as he gets closer to 3,000, the balls that will be in play during the at bat will have a special hologram on them that you can't pick up by looking at it. So if he hits a home run into the seat, someone doesn't do the old changeover and hand over a different ball and keep the one that was really a record setter or part of a record setting chase.
Right. You say that's you see Jose's face. He said that's amazing because Kang was swinging for a fastball as soon as that ball left his hand. That ball was in the other batter's box and he swung at it.
So would you throw him another at 3-2?
Kind of have to. I don't like it.
Fastball struck him out. Jose Fernandez is bringing it tonight. And so is Garrett Cole. Scoreless. 17 Chrysler Pacifica by the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you, drive sober or get pulled over. By your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Night falling in Miami. Pirates and Marlins are scoreless. Jose Fernandez and Garrett Cole, the duel continues. Derek Dietrich pulls one first base side. Jaso has it, flips. Cole's there in time to get the out. And Dietrich robbed of a hit. There's one away in the fourth.
Well, we talked in the pregame about how athletic and rangy this defense is. That ball was hit pretty well. Jaso gets to it. Garrett Cole does a great job being alert right away, getting off the mound. Look at this. As soon as that ball hits the bat, he's going to first base. Nicely done.
Chris Johnson, broken bat single to left, and Cole with a strike. Miami had a great opportunity in the third. Ichiro a leadoff single. JT Realmuto singled to left and moved to second on the throw to third. And the Marlins were set up not only with second and third and nobody out against Cole, but they had Yelich, Ozuna, and Bohr coming up. Cole struck out Yelich. Ozuna bounced to third. Ichiro was caught coming home. That's a rope right at short. And then Bohr struck out and Cole escaped. Get your flame-proof suit on, Preston Wilson, because NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action is coming at you from Pocono on Sunday at 11:30 on FS1. Denny Echeverria, an 0 for 1. So Fernandez 61 pitches. Cole 55 pitches as Harrison goes up, snares a liner, and Miami is done in the fourth. Already into the fifth after a 6-pitch inning, still scoreless. Tonight in a pitcher's duel, tough to get him in, but we'll do our best at Fox Marlins. It's all driven by Ford, your South Florida Ford dealers. FoxMarlins@gmail.com. You can email us the old-fashioned way. We get as many on as we can. This is a tight one with Jose Fernandez and Garrett Cole going back and forth. Jose with a breaking ball, and Starling Marte jumps out of the way. Takes a strike. Remember, when Preston Wilson was documenting the pitches thrown by Jose. First time through, Marte saw all fastballs. So you would jump out of the way too if you saw that one coming at you before it spun back across the plate.
And that's the importance of saving some pitches against different hitters.
Another breaking ball. All fastballs and now all breaking balls. Another breaking ball. And a strikeout. Down goes Marte. 6 strikeouts for Jose. Tomorrow night, it's Wednesday. And you know what Wednesday means? It's a Wednesday night showdown presented by La Lechonera. Jonathan Neese, Adam Conlon. Marlins live coverage starts at 6:30. Preston Wilson dancing to the salsa beat.
I hear the music. I got to move my feet, Rich.
Yeah, there you go. Here is Cervelli, and he swings and misses. All right, Nancy in St. Pete has a couple of emails. What does Major League Baseball do with all the specialty uniforms, like the camo uniforms from yesterday and the Mother's Day pink bats and bases and all of that? Good question. I have a partial answer. That one fouled back. With the Mother's Day pink bats, a lot of them are auctioned off. Those, all of the proceeds on Mother's Day go to breast cancer awareness. And I had the note the other night, last night, about the veterans charity that Major League Baseball supports. That one just missed, and it's 1-2. It didn't miss. That got the corner.
Yeah, Marvin Hudson has not been given much out there on the outside corner today. Tonight, I should say.
Tapper to short. Etch. Charges. Gloves. Throws. Nifty play. And there are 2 outs. All the proceeds from Major League Baseball, the 29 U.S.-based teams, will go to a veterans charity that Major League Baseball supports. And that includes the camo caps, the camo jerseys. A lot of them can be purchased, by the way, at the team store. And if you go online to MLB.com, I'm sure, Nancy, you'll get a chance to find some of that stuff online, MLB.com. Just go shopping in the team stores. And the purchases that you make online also support those charities.
It's fun to watch Jose now because you see the fastballs early in their bat. At bat, they're 93 miles an hour. Then he turns it up later.
95 there, and it's 1-2.
Now this one's got a little bit more on it. 95 miles an hour. That's a late swing by Harrison.
1-2 coming. Fastball, fly ball, right field. Ichiro has it. 1-2-3. Go the Pirates. Jose is set down 9 straight. Baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Joe Bad and the Cubs have won 6 straight. They're still rolling. Adam Duvall, first 2-homer game. Reds beat the Rockies in a slugfest. Xander Bogaerts keeps on hitting. Jackie Bradley Jr. streak over, but the Red Sox have Bogaerts at 23 games. Here in this one, scoreless, bottom 5, halfway through. Garrett Cole, Jose Fernandez, and they meet here to open up the bottom of the 5th. Ichiro and JT Realmuto will follow. Jose, a bouncer out to short. Mercer. And there's 1 out. Geico presents the state Marlins history. In 2003, first career home run. 8 home runs in his career. Dontrelle Willis on this date as the Marlins beat the Reds 3-2. And that still is a record for Marlin pitchers. Jose has 2 career home runs, and right now he's holding that right hand. Let's hope that is just a jam shot stinger. Now he knows how he makes everybody else feel.
Yeah, it's not so much fun when it happens to you.
Now here's Ichiro, who's popped out in a line drive single to center. When Ichiro signed to play here in Miami, one of the things that made sense was the fact that this is a very good ballpark for him to hit in. Somewhat fast infield and outfield. Big gaps. That ball nearly was on the ground when he hit it. And Ichiro is thrown out. So there are 2 outs, and here comes Realmuto. Ichiro has hit in this ballpark this year .435. So on a 1-for-3 tonight. I would think JT Realmuto's taking his time here. Remember the shot of Jose coming back holding that right hand. 2 for 2 in this one.
If there's anybody in the lineup who's going to take care of the pitcher, giving him a breather, it's going to be the catcher.
Check swing and a breaking ball down low. Well, Realmuto has taken care of Garrett Cole. 5 for 6 in his career now, including the 2 for 2 tonight. That one zips outside.
Amazing how just some guys you just tend to see them well. You see them receive the ball really good out of their hands, pick up the ball.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Cole, 4 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Fernandez, 2 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Marcell Ozuna going to school with Barry Bonds right now. Watching Garrett Cole. Big power pitcher. 6'4", 230. And you could use that with Jose Fernandez as well. 6'3", 240. Both thick in the legs. No swing. 3-2.
Yep. Good check.
Gorgeous breaking ball. Bends right in there for strike 3. Marlins down in order to the 6th. Scoreless. scoreless. And they'll play again tomorrow. They'll play again on Thursday in Law Enforcement Night, 7:10 start. You seniors out there, 55 and older, you get a free ticket with a ID on senior. Free ticket Thursdays presented by Wellmax Medical Centers. For more information, go to marlins.com. They are the aces of their respective teams. Jose Fernandez and Garrett Cole, and they've pitched like it tonight, scoreless. And a first pitch fastball is fouled back by Jordy Mercer, Pirate shortstop. Cole will hit second, and then top of the order, John Jaso.
Again, note the fastball speed. That first one was 92 miles an hour. See it change throughout the at bat.
Into center, Ozuna in there, makes the catch. We check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Rich, everyone loves Jose Day. So earlier on Twitter, I threw out the question, what is your favorite Jose Day memory? And for Enrique, he said the day that Jose signed a ball and a cartoon for him and his son. Keep those tweets and emails coming. Tweets can go to @FoxMarlins. Emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com. And don't forget to use that hashtag Jose Day. And by the way, everyone in the stands, who loves Jose Day? They love Jose Day and the number of strikeouts so far for Jose Fernandez. Guys.
Thank you, Jessica. Jeff Conine, ladies and gentlemen, down below us on that pop-up, knocked it down and made a play. Garrett Cole takes down low, and the count's 1-1. Jeff Conine had that one screaming back up. He got a hand on it, knocked it down, and gave it to his buddy.
David Sampson's giving him an earful because he dropped the ball just now. Niner could not look less impressed. Look at him. Oh, man, that's funny.
Ichiro is there, and a sliding catch for the second out of the sixth inning. And Jose, 78 pitches in. There's 2 outs here in the sixth.
Another ball not hit very well. Ichiro was playing shallow. Comes in and makes the little sliding grab. I really would like to see outfielders stay on their feet more often, though. If you slide and you catch a ball head high, that's a ball you can catch standing up. Now, maybe in that instance, he was trying to protect himself from running into Dietrich. But I think when you start leaving your feet when you don't have to, you start opening up problems. Ichiro may be one of those rare exceptions because he's such a gifted player.
Bouncer, Johnson. Across the diamond. Jose Fernandez, a nice, neat, clean sixth in a scoreless duel with the Pirates. Miami Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica and by Checkers. Fast foodies know the deal. Taste of Miami tonight. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
Thank you very much. For the Marlins, through 51 games, they have never had 4 regulars hitting at over 300 or better in their lineup. And we're including Derek Dietrich, an average of 2.5 plate appearances per game. Of course, Christian Yelich is one of those guys. Yelich, Ozuna, you see Prado not starting tonight. Dietrich and Yelich with those numbers coming into the ball game tonight. And JT Realmuto is real close. They did finish a season one time, and that was in 05. Over the 300 mark, they had a bunch of guys there, including Conine, Miggy, Delgado, and Castillo. And Preston Wilson, you're in a group of 3 over 300 through this point with your pals Cliff Floyd and Charles Johnson through 51 back in 2001. CJ and Cliff both hitting 321. Preston, you were at 342 through 51 games in 2001. That's pretty sharp numbers there.
Preston could swing it. Thank you, Craig. Yelich spins out of the way of that fastball. 1-2 coming. Breaking ball into the seats and out of play. Yelich, Marcell Ozuna, and Justin Bour in Miami's 6th. Scoreless. Maybe that's not a surprise with Jose Fernandez and Garrett Cole. Yelich walked and then struck out in the 3rd, and that was the biggest at bat in this ball game. Marlins had runners 2nd and 3rd and nobody out, and Cole on a slider that was neatly tucked under the hands of Yelich. Got him to swing over it and then got out of the inning without giving up a run. Yelich sends that one into right center field, and that's a hit. Marlins have speed on first, and here comes Ozuna.
Oh, that's a nice swing right here. The ball is a little bit up. He didn't quite get all of it, but he pulls the hands through nicely. See, he got him jammed up the label a little bit, but still a great bat path. When you get 96 and you can turn it around, you're not always going to hit it squarely, but that's a good job getting those hands through.
Ozuna twice has pulled ground balls to 3rd. We haven't seen Yelich run in a while. In fact, the Marlins have gone 17 games without a stolen base. Another ground ball to 3rd. Gung safe at 2nd. Yelich can run, and that surprised Gung. Great hustle, and everybody is safe.
Yelich had a great secondary and a good jump on that ball. And when you're playing infield, you better realize the guys who get down there and go hard, because you can give away a play. And I think that's what see the secondary little bounce right there, right on contact, good crossover. Oh yeah, that's good base running. It's something that goes very underrated in baseball. Base runners who get that good secondary lead and are able to read the ball on contact.
Now Bour, and it's in. Bour's flied out and struck out. Outside the telecast, we talked about hitters that had had some success against Garrett Cole. Bour was on that list. 2 for 8, a home run. Drives that one to left towards the line. Yelich is going to go back and tag, and it's caught there by Marte. There's one out. Derek Dietrich now. Watch Marte right up against it. Bour was hoping it would glance off the wall.
Well, that's when you're a left-handed hitter and you foul that ball off down the left field line. It has like a curveball spin, so it's going to come back down towards the field.
Dietrich now. Fastball in at 97 miles an hour. both of these guys, and we talked about their size and their velocity, both of these guys, as the game has grown longer, their fastball has gotten faster. Wow, that's a pretty good pitch. And I think Fox Tracks may show Dietrich got a break. He sure did.
Yeah, that
That
ball
has plenty of the knees, and it is right over the plate.
Yeah, it is. It's all right. Hey, Marlins can use a break. Let me turn it into something right here.
And a 2-0 breaking ball. It's 2-1. That backdoor breaking ball against the lefties has been outstanding for Cole in this one. He was the first overall pick in 2011 out of UCLA. That same year, the Marlins had the 14th overall pick, and they went for a high school kid out of Tampa, Florida, Alonzo High School. Of course, Jose Fernandez. Got good speed out there with Yelich at second, Ozuna at first. That's a strike. In that draft, look at that. Anthony Rendon, 6th overall. We'll have a chance to see Lindor with Cleveland. Just a fabulously talented young player. George Springer as well. There's Jose, 14th overall, and Sonny Gray went 18th overall.
It's a very talented draft.
Marlins have the 7th overall pick in the upcoming draft here in a few days. Full count. Now Cole, when he's needed a punch out on a pitch like this against a left-handed bat, has been able to get that sharp slider under their hands. Three-two. Fastball lined left field, base hit. Yelich stops and holds at third. A liner to left. Marte, the Gold Glover, was approaching, and Yelich wanted to make sure that it was down, and it was down. Marte was not playing deep. And so now Chris Johnson has an enormous at bat in a scoreless game in the bottom of the 6th with 1 out and the bags loaded. He's lined out and singled. He has swung the bat well tonight. Fastball up and in. Two career grand slams for Johnson. Getting the start at third for Martin Prado. Breaking ball, a strike. In this series, Miami has gone almost 15 innings now without a run. Jeff Locke last night, Garrett Cole tonight. The good news for the Fish, Jose Fernandez has been dealing right alongside Garrett Cole. Infield back for 2. 1-1 coming. Johnson takes out, and it's 2-1. Yelich at third base, Ozuna at second. Eric Dietrich, the trail runner, at first. Johnson, a busted bat. Harrison holds it, and there's 2 outs. Garrett Cole escaped the third when Miami had runners second and third and nobody out. And he did that by going right through the teeth of Miami's order with a pair of strikeouts of Yelich and Bohr and a fielder's choice from Ozuna. Here now, bags loaded. He has the second out, and Adeiny Echeverria, who was 0 for 2.
Well, that's why against guys like Garrett Cole and these top-line pitchers, you have to execute everything so well. And I know that was a tough play, a tough read for Yelich going on that ball from Dietrich. But if you execute that, that's your chance to score a run, because against these guys, they don't make many mistakes, and even when they do, they have enough stuff that it's still hard to hit it.
If you're looking for stuff, this is the place to be tonight, because Cole and Jose Fernandez have been on it from the very start. Their pitch counts manageable. Cole's at 89, Jose's at 80. Fernandez on deck, Echeverria in the 8 spot. Look at the split, the efficiency of Garrett Cole. One to Echeverria. Little pop, shallow right. Harrison out. In comes Polanco, who makes the catch, and Cole escapes again. Still scoreless in Miami. Great stuff tonight from both Garrett Cole and Jose Fernandez. The ace of the Marlins, the ace of the Pirates, and their lines next to each other. As you can see, the Marlins have had more opportunities than the Pirates, but Cole, when he's needed it most, has been able to get off the hook. Ichiro racing over on a hop. Andrew McCutchen's got a single, and Pittsburgh has their leadoff hitter aboard for just the second time tonight. And that's the first hit since Josh Harrison's single led off the third. Coors Light cold hard fact. Against the Marlins since 2009. Well, Andre Ethier in a different world. Andrew McCutchen is on that list. Joey Votto, Ryan Braun, and Matt Holliday. Polanco has struck out, flied out. McCutchen, speed at first. And Fernandez misses out. One thing about Jose over his last 3-4 starts. He tends to compile strikeouts later in the start, which is opposite from many pitchers who come out blazing, get him early, and then hang in there. On a hop out there, Echeverria out there. Derek Dietrich starts a nifty double play, and Miami gets 2 quick outs here.
One hopper, nice little turn, little reverse pivot, great feed at shortstop to Echeverria, and with the speed that this ball has hit, if there's a good transfer, that's an automatic double play.
Jung Ho Kang now has bounced out, struck out. Jose with fastball. Remember Kang's last at bat, he had that bat started early. Jose sniffed that out and struck him out. And he pumps in 97. In-game box score, 3 hits. McCutchen just had his single erased. Marte an infield hit in the second. Harrison back in the third.
He threw that. That was that same slider as the 3-1 slider he threw him last time. He didn't even budge that time. That just shows you goes to show you that Kang was in automatic swing mode in that 3-1 count.
1-2. Got the breaking ball in the air. Bohr with Jose over there as well, and it's out of play. It stays 1-2. Jose was racing over there, almost as if he was going to get up in the air and get over the rail after that ball. Not a stressful inning in the bunch. Little tapper. Jose's got it. Gets the out. 8-pitch inning for Jose. Still scoreless. Chrysler is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Marlins Park tonight, scoreless. Jose Fernandez, Garrett Cole, terrific matchup. Both aces, both are on their game. Fernandez, who exited his last at bat shaking that right hand after bouncing out to shortstop, leads it off here in the 7th with Ichiro and JT Realmuto. Jose trying to check the swing, nearly broke his leg.
He turned around and asked umpire, what was it? Was that a fastball?
I think it was a called strike, not a swinging strike. Tries to bunt, and that's strike 2.
Yeah, this is, I think Jose is starting to feel a little overmatched right here.
Cole has scattered 6 hits. Way off is Jaso. Behind, and the reach by Cole is just enough to get the bag. That's why you never know. Fireworks Friday, Mets coming in. That opens up a 3-game weekend series. The Budweiser Burger and Beer Pack is just $25. Get you a bullpen reserve ticket and a specialty burger, 16-ounce Budweiser. Enjoy fireworks after the game. Great way to start the Friday Mets series. Marlins.com for more info. So went out in the 7th. Here's Ichiro, who's 1 for 3. Garrett Cole, his 94th pitch. Ichiro's it. Foul into these seats. Ichiro started the night just over 300. Helped himself with a base hit. There's Miami's box score. JT Realmuto's on deck with 2 hits. And a ball and a strike. Miami had 2 on with 1 out in the first, didn't score. Had 2nd and 3rd, nobody out in the 3rd, didn't score. First 2 runners reached in the 6th, had the bags loaded, didn't score. Ichiro into right, that's a hit. Well, I guess the magic is back for Ichiro. He snapped a 1 for 24 skid with a line drive single to center, which was stung, and so was this one.
Some good at bats by Ichiro tonight. Hitting the ball solidly, doing what he does, just those low line drives all over the ballpark.
$2,963. The hit counter shirts out in force tonight. Realmuto up the middle, off the glove of Mercer. That's another hit for Realmuto. He's got 3 of them tonight. And once again, Miami is threatening.
Yeah, you don't know if this ball's going to carry to the shortstop. Ichiro kind of has to hold up just to make sure when you see a line drive, you have to freeze. Mercer just couldn't corral it. It's one of those balls that, as a hitter, you get inside of, and it's kind of got some draw on it. Fades back towards center field from the shortstop. Not an easy ball to catch.
Francisco Cervelli out to the mound. Pirates bullpen starts to stir, and it's a good one, especially the back end. We talked about it last night. Jared Hughes the first to get up for the Pirates. Christian Yelich now walked in the first, struck out in the 3rd, and that still remains the biggest at bat of this ball game. Yelich with runners 2nd and 3rd. And nobody out, struck out on a nasty sequence of Garrett Cole sliders.
That's why these top line A1 pitchers mean so much to a ball club, because they can get in those situations and really just pitch themselves out of it with stuff. You know, you're not going to hit the ball solidly because they got such good movement. They can pitch with velocity.
That moves Yelich's feet. Jose Fernandez hoping his team could get him a run on a night where it really felt like early on that just 1 run might do it for either side. Ball and a strike to Yelich. Late on that. And it's 1-2.
There has not been a whole lot to be excited about offensively in this ball game. But there's been some good baseball play. There's been some good pitching. It's a tough day to be a hitter, though.
It is. Though the Marlins have 8 hits, the Pirates have 3. 1-2. Ooh, it's close. You heard Cole upset, and he had reason to be. Cervelli now on his way back talks to Marvin Hudson behind the plate.
Yeah, Marvin Hudson's zone's been kind of tight. He's not giving much up on the edges. He's been tight at the bottom of the zone.
Let's see if Yelich gets that slider in on his hands. That one in on the dirt. Might you think about starting Ichiro and Real Muto? I know if Yelich were to strike out, you could erase an Ozuna at bat with runners in scoring position.
And that's the concern, is that you don't want to run yourself out of an inning possibly with your hottest hitter coming up. So in most circumstances, I would say start him for sure. This one is not such a clear call.
3-2 coming. Yelich in the right field base hit. Here comes Ichiro. Polanco's got a great arm. Throw to the plate is cut. Miami has the lead. And Yelich takes second. Polanco did not get off a good throw at all. A former pitcher. He is known to have a great arm in right. Ichiro got a clean break.
They see Yelich on the swing here. Ball goes in the right. And Polanco does best he can, but it doesn't look like he got a good grip on it. It came out kind of with some cutter action on it. Jose's excited about it. The Fish know that they got something going right now, because now they got second and third and a chance to do some more damage.
Ray Searage, pitching coach for the Pirates, and a good one, is on his way out to the mound. Hughes is ready in the pen. Every Pirate on the infield is on the dirt of the mound. Marlins have 3 consecutive hits. Ichiro, Real Muto, Yelich, and here is Ozuna. With some last-minute instructions from Barry Bonds. The mound visit breaks up, and it's Cole against Ozuna for the 4th time tonight.
Garrett Cole tried to go to that same slider he struck out Yelich on in his first at bat. That one didn't get down under the hands as much, and Yelich was able to stroke it.
Infield in. Cole misses up. Cole now 104 pitches into this ball game. The Marlins have finally broken through, but insurance, so valuable these days in this game of Major League Baseball, is still out there. Now remember what Ozuna told us earlier in the ball game. The biggest thing he learned from Barry Bonds, with whom he just conferred with, patience.
Now the last time he got this 2-0 count, he got a fastball in on him and he got jammed. Let's see if he makes an adjustment here.
Nope, slider, and he did not offer. Infield in. Real Muto at third. You see Yelich out at second.
Ooh, he got the 3-0 hack right there.
And he had a good one. Fouls it back. If he got a, well, first base is open, so there's no telling what he's going to get here.
I mean, Ozuna's in the driver's seat right here. He can pretty much pick what he wants.
Fastball goes to the screen. Real Muto in and safe. 2-0. Ozuna walks on a wild pitch and a close play.
Yeah, Garrett Cole, you know, I got to give him credit. He's played great defense all night. He bounces off the mound well, got there quickly, but Real Muto with a good read on that ball, got down the line, scored a big run for the Marlins right there.
That's close. And I think the Pirates may challenge this. This may be one of those where Clint Hurdle is just saying, hey, I'm going to roll the dice. It's late in the ball game. It's 7th inning. Umpires can still go to replay without a challenge. So why not go for it? From the views that you saw, Preston, including that one, is there enough to overturn?
I don't think so. This doesn't seem like it's giving you enough to see a definitive look that he was out.
This should. Is the foot down? Oh, wow. The toe's down just as the glove is arriving. How close is that? I don't think you can overturn from that look.
Not from what I've seen.
And it looks like this is a quick one. He's safe. Jim Joyce, crew chief. Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Hughes is in. Cole is out. 2-0 Miami.
Hey, look, they went to Jared.
Between innings, this discussion on Miami's bench, and it looks like Don Mattingly telling Jose Fernandez that he's done tonight. 88 pitches. Right now it's a 2-0 ball game. The Marlins have a chance to get more, but Jose obviously disconsolate. But an arm around his skipper. Justin Bohr at the plate. Jared Hughes is in from the Pirates bullpen. Got Ozuna at first. Yelich at third. Pirates infield is amazingly straight up for Bohr. And he sprays one to the left side. Gung. Harrison had to go a long way. Double clutches and doesn't get the out. Wow. Harrison had to go a long way. And as he received the throw, he was in no position to make the pivot because all his momentum was coming across the bag.
Well, that's one of the the falls of having those shifts. The middle infielder had so far to go to come back into this picture to get Justin Bour. That's a long way. See how far he's ranging off? That's way out of double play depth. And he's got to come. He's on a dead sprint to try to get to that bag.
So the Marlins get another run and lead at 3-0. Goes as a fielder's choice and an RBI for Bour. Center field. McCutchen is there, and he makes the catch. A pitcher's duel is broken in the bottom of the 7th with 3 runs. And the Marlins go to the 8th, up 3-0. JetBlue brings you through the rest of the homestand. Marlins live tomorrow at 6:30, and then on Thursday as the Pirates and the Marlins finish off this 4-game series. Then the weekend hits. The weekend. You love the weekend. You love the taste of Miami. Who doesn't love the Clevelander? That's right. Marlins and Mets for 3. Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. All right, that would be Martin Prado. He's actually at third base. There you go. We gave you a quick preview at second. That's Miguel Rojas. And Chris Johnson goes from third over to first. And the Marlins have made a pitching change. Jose Fernandez night is done. David Phelps is in. The Marlins have leaned on the combination of Phelps and Ramos in the 8th and the 9th. And Don Mattingly, rather than stick with another inning of Jose, is going to that combination now. Starling Marte, Francisco Cervelli, and Josh Harrison for the Pirates.
I know Phelps has been tremendous this year, so has Ramos, but I really would have liked to see Jose stay in there another inning. The pitch count was low. If nothing else, reward him for doing what you've been asking him to do. You've asked him to be more efficient, throw less pitches, work deeper into the game, and he's starting to do that. And he doesn't have a complete game in his career yet. And I thought tonight, sitting at around 80-something pitches going into the 8th inning, would have been the time, especially if he could have had an 8th inning of 10 pitches or less, something like that. The chances were really good, and his stuff was still good tonight.
Phelps enters. He's had a terrific run working his way up from the middle of the bullpen. I guess in the bullpen sense, you work your way down to the back of that pen. That one flipped up and into the seats. And Phelps started in the middle and all of a sudden found himself in that 8th inning and has really nailed down and kept a tight grip on that assignment. Got him. throws that little cutter against righties that just comes in the front door enough to get the called strike 3.
Yeah, it's like a baby slider or cutter, 91 miles an hour, so about 3 or 4 miles an hour off his fastball. But it's got that late movement, and as a hitter, it looks just like a fastball, so you don't think it's going to get that break. And then right at the end, takes that left turn on you.
Cervelli with a big cut and a miss. Twice he's bounced out to the left side.
So you see the fastball there at 95. The cutter was 91, but it looks just like the fastball coming out of his hand.
That's a strike. Cervelli saying that's outside. It's not. Oh, and 2. Last night, an avalanche of runs by the Pirates. A 10-0 win. Fastball got him. David Phelps has struck out the first 2 he's faced in the 8th. Toyota's Inside Look brought to you by the all-new RAV4 at Marlins Park. All-time average. The Twins certainly had an enjoyable visit here. Pirates at 340. The Giants, the Brewers, and the White Sox make that list. Josh Harrison now singled, lined out. Love the look by Josh Harrison, who is a throwback player himself. So versatile, such a spark plug. He oozes energy. He's got the low stirrups and the high pants.
He just reminds me of a ball player who's like, hey, where do you need me to play today? And he'll go out there and he'll give it his all, and he's actually really good at a lot of positions.
Yes, he is.
But he's hit himself into an everyday role, playing second base now. He played some third base last year, played left field in the past.
Breaking ball up the middle into center field, and that's a base hit. Harrison with a 2-out single, and here comes Jordy Mercer. On a night like tonight, we err on the side of not rolling through emails and tweets, and understandable, having watched Jose and Garrett Cole duel into the bottom of the 7th. The Marlins got 3 runs in that inning, and here in the 8th, David Phelps, and if all goes well, you'd expect A.J. Ramos. Mercer an 0 for 2, but a guy that has power.
He has some serious power. Before Giancarlo Stanton hit that 478-foot home run, you know who had hit the longest home run of the season before that?
Yeah, you're looking at him.
Jordy Mercer.
It was in Arizona, I believe. I think it was upwards of 460.
Yes.
465 feet. In the air and foul. And it's out of play. Giancarlo Stanton, another good batting practice. Available to pinch hit. Right now the Marlins have a 3-0 lead with 2 outs in the 8th. Bouncer to short. Echeverria flips it. Rojas waiting. David Phelps handles the 8th. Bottom half, 8th inning, 3-0 Miami. On top of the Pirates. Starters for tomorrow night's ball game. This is a 4-game series. Tomorrow night is game 3, and it's Adam Conley and Jonathan Neese. Neese, of course, a former Met. Marlins have seen him many times before. And those are your starters for tomorrow. Speaking of starters, if you're looking towards the weekend, and the Marlins and the Mets, A.J. Schugel is in for the Pirates. Noah Syndergaard pitched in relief tonight. He pitched a scoreless 7th, struck out 2, and is scheduled to start Friday here at Marlins Park. That would be a Tom Kohler start against Noah Syndergaard. And if everything holds, the next Jose Fernandez start is Sunday. That would be Matt Harvey against Jose Fernandez. So you like the battle of the aces here.
That's some fun baseball. See those arms, that talent, all in one building.
Chris Johnson pulls it, and it's a fair ball. Down the line it goes. Johnson around first. Up with the ball, Marte got a big arm and airballs it all the way to first base. Jaso was backing up. He collects it. Johnson forced the issue and ends up with double number 4 on the season.
Good aggressive base running. Ball up and in. Pulls it, yanks it down the line.
It's a nice night from Johnson. He's 2 for 4, and his 2 outs were line drive outs.
Good turn. Never stop. Not the best throwing night so far for the Pirates outfield.
Yeah, Marlins have run a couple times on Marte and once on Polanco. Echeverria takes a strike. He's 0 for 3. Prado, who came in the double switch, is on deck. Echeverria trying to bunt, and the count's 0-2. Well, that's a case where if you're Echeverria, you're not sure if that was a sign to bunt and try to get the runner over. If it was, it looked more like a bunt for a hit than a sacrifice.
No matter what he was trying to do, the attempt was too late. The bat really got in a bunting position really late.
Schugel's fastball is fouled off. And A.J. Ramos starting his routine. To Echeverria. Leadoff double by Chris Johnson. Miami trying to add to a 3-0 lead. And down goes Echeverria. Jose Fernandez looking a little happier when last we saw him.
You know, and I like that. I like that he wanted to be in the game. I like that he was trying to plead his case to stay on the mound.
And my guess is, if you ask Don Mattingly, he will tell you he likes it too. Remember, and I think sometimes it gets lost, the Marlins are trying to get Jose to the end of September at 180 innings or less. And so quite possibly Don Mattingly saw this as an opportunity to shave an inning, maybe 2. He's been certainly pleased and very confident with Phelps and Ramos in the 8th and the 9th. On Nieves and Mattingly.
I know the 180 is the number, but for me, this game was less stressful than. Wow.
Mercer out. Double play. Johnson caught off second, and the Marlins' 8th ends abruptly. A.J. Ramos ready to go. Tim Wallach on the phone. Marlins video room will look. Johnson's coming off the field. I think he knows. No challenge. Bring on Ramos in the ninth. Florida, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. By your South Florida Honda dealers. In Marlins Park tonight, the two aces went at each other for 7 innings. Jose Fernandez and Garrett Cole, and it was Cole who blinked first. Marlins got 3 to chase Cole in the bottom of the 7th. Jose Fernandez, 7 innings, 6 strikeouts, just 3 hits. And A.J. Ramos is in looking for save number 16 with John Jaso, Andrew McCutchen to follow. Matt Joyce comes off the bench and will pinch hit for the Pirates. Pinch a penny presents Matt Joyce. Ramos ready. Joyce, the 31-year-old out of Seffner, Florida, pulls it foul. Florida Southern in Lakeland. Joyce, a longtime Ray, 6 years. Originally drafted by the Tigers, spent last year with the Angels. John Jaso follows Joyce. Too bad we couldn't get Ben Zobrist to line up behind those guys. Former Rays well represented. MLB.com at bat. Stay up to the moment with Game Day Live, video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Ramos with a change up to Joyce. Joyce was an all-star with the Rays back in 2011. And Ramos misses up. Two and two. If anybody reaches, you've got Polanco, Gung, Marte all lined up.
Ramos went with the breaking ball there. like to see him go with the fastball here.
Misses. And it looked like a changeup at 86.
It was a changeup, and I don't. I like when you got a 3-run lead, make them get on. And I don't know. I think you got to go with what you think you can throw most for a strike right there, no matter what. You can't be afraid of contact in this situation.
Now Jaso, who was 0 for 3. Well, Ramos better get it together in a hurry, because as we documented, he's just getting to the top of the order, and the Pirate lineup is thick with bats, and dangerous ones. Ball and a strike. Into left, that's a hit. Jaso singles. And Ramos now with runners first and second. Nobody out. Now you get into McCutchen, Polanco, Gung, Marte. AJ has shown the ability to pitch himself into trouble and then out of trouble.
That he has.
McCutchen now. Certainly the power to tie it with one swing. Nine home runs for McCutchen. 2 for 8, both singles in this series. Miami's infield looking for 2. Remember, Prado's at third now, Rojas at second, Johnson at first. One and 0. Two and 0. A walk, a single, and a 2-0 count to the leader of the Pirates, Andrew McCutchen. Polanco is on deck. Breaking ball. Strike. Ramos is a 4-pitch closer, and oftentimes he'll shuffle through the repertoire if 1 or 2 of those pitches isn't working, just to find something that he can throw for strikes. 2-1. He's found the curveball. Does he triple up on it?
I don't know. AJ's tough, man. Change up.
And he buried it. Now it's 3-2. All right, the only pitch he's thrown for a strike to McCutchen is that curveball. McCutchen knows that. AJ knows that. Polanco waits on deck, a dangerous hitter, but so is McCutchen. Ramos ready. Nobody out. 3-2 to Andrew McCutchen. Fastball in. Bags are loaded. it was well in. No question about it. There are times where it seems that Ramos needs to taste his own blood before he gets going.
Well, his mouth is bloody right now, and it's time to come out swinging. It's time to start throwing some haymakers. You got to make something happen right here to shut this down.
Juan Nieves is out. In the balance, not only the ball game, but an absolute gem by Jose Fernandez. And at the plate, the guy that's done a ton of damage in his short career in this building. There's Jose's line. 88 pitches. Remember, Don Mattingly lifted him. David Phelps worked a clean 8th. But in the 9th, A.J. Ramos has been anything but.
The most glaring number in that Jose line was 0 walks. Yes, we had the pitch count. Yes, we had the number of innings pitched. But the fact that he did not issue a walk tonight is tremendous, because that was really one of the major problems for him this year, has been the walks.
Polanco had the grand slam, the first of his career, last night. Bags loaded, nobody out. Ramos to the plate. Low fastball, it's 1-0. Not a good ball strike ratio. Two and 0. Ramos has no safety net. (3-0) Miami. Bags loaded, 2-0 to Gregory Polanco, who takes a strike. Jung Ho Gung on deck. Ramos ready. Infield back for 2, and very deep is Bohr at first. Or excuse me, Johnson. And A.J. gets strike 2.
Like he went with the fastball, maybe cut it in just a little bit. Polanco took a big hack. Came up empty, though.
Polanco did not come up empty last night in the 6th inning against Jose Urena. Took a low fastball and drilled it out to right center. Kyle Bearclaw in Miami's bullpen. Ground ball. Johnson was all over the line, and he smothers it in foul territory. And now Ramos has at least a little bit of rhythm, having thrown 3 consecutive strikes. Outfield very deep, especially Ozuna in center. Ramos ready. Polanco lines it foul and out of play. This may be the best offense in the National League. Pirates are dynamic. They have speed. They have pop. They get on base. High slugging. 2-2 from Ramos. Center field and deep. Ozuna track has it. Everybody tags. Throw comes to second. 1 run scores. Holding first is McCutchen. My goodness, that's a 405-foot out to center. 3-1 Miami.
Wow.
Ramos has his first out. Pittsburgh has their first run. Speed at first with McCutchen. But the double play is still in order, and that's the importance of Ozuna's strong throw to second. Jung-Ho Kang, 0 for 3. And he has plenty of pop, slugging well over 600. This is just his 19th game. He's driven in 18 runs already with 6 homers. McCutchen from first. Long wait, Ramos holding, and Kang steps out. McCutchen has not had a great year in swiping bags. He's just 1 of 3. Ramos steps off. Jose Fernandez sailed through 7. 88 pitches, 3 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts. Don Mattingly pulled him when Miami scored 3 times in the bottom of the 7th. David Phelps handled the 8th. Ramos here in the 9th is wobbling. And he misses outside. 1-0.
But Kang is such a good hitter. You got to find a way right here to get him to either swing over one, run a sinker under his hands, get you a ground ball, but stay out of the middle of the plate because he's got good power.
1-0 is ball 2. Ramos' ball strike ratio is a mess right now. 13 balls, 11 strikes. This is pitch number 25 already. That's a strike, a much needed one.
I'd like the old 6-4-3 right now.
McCutchen away from firsts. Inside corner. Kang doesn't like it. 2-2. And it's there on Fox Tracks. Had plenty of the plate.
Well, it's definitely not like Marvin Hudson has a small zone. I mean, a big zone. His zone has been pretty tight all night. But it's been consistently small.
2-2. Ramos has gone through his 4-pitch repertoire searching for something that works, and the one pitch that he's been able to throw for a strike is that curveball. Now Starling Marte. Tying runs at first. That's Andrew McCutchen. John Jaso's at third. A.J. Ramos has pitched his way into trouble and is trying to pitch his way out. And the fastball command has just not been there for Ramos. And yet another Pirate hitter having a terrific year. Marte. See the batting average, 326, 16 doubles. Breaking ball, a strike.
Yeah, that's the one release point that he has that he feels consistent with right now is on the breaking ball. And sometimes when you have a pitcher that has so many different pitches, they'll lose a pitch. You know, one day the changeup might not be there. One day the slider might not be there. It's a lot of work to maintain effectiveness with 4 pitches.
1-1. Almost hit him. And Marte is very good at that. I mean, he's better than Derek Dietrich. He's led Major League Baseball over the last 3 years.
A lot of pitching coaches will take a pitch away from a pitcher if they feel like he has too many pitches. Instead of you having 4 so-so pitches, they want you to have 2 good pitches and 1 maybe that's okay.
Breaking ball again. 2-2. The breaking ball has been the pitch for A.J. Ramos here in the 9th. 2 down, 2-2 coming. In the air to right and shallow. Ichiro running there. Ball game. A.J. Ramos wobbled, but he did not fall over. An agonizing 9th for Jose Fernandez and Marlin fans everywhere. But Ramos somehow found his curveball and somehow got it together. He gets through the 9th, and Miami evens this series in dramatic fashion and wins it 3-1. Marlins Live, brought to you by Checkers, is coming up. We hope to talk live with Jose Fernandez. A.J. Ramos, quite a workout. He got in it, and then he got out of it. And the Marlins are back 2 over 500 at 27 and 25. The Pirates at 29 and 22. AT&T high-speed replay. If you missed it, here's a taste of Jose Fernandez.
Oh, and it was delicious. Nasty slider. Curveball. Slider. Filth all night. Fastball blew by McCutchen. Fastball locked up Kemp. Oh, and the filthy slider of Starling Marte. Little conversation with the manager there, but you know what? It ended up being enough.
Let's go down to Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
All right, thanks so much, Rich. Jose, talking to both JT Realmuto and Don Mattingly before the game, they said the thing they love most about you is that you are such a competitor. You are not afraid of any hitter. How much do you feel like you came out tonight and attacked a very good Pirates offense?
You know, pretty much sticking to the game plan. I think that, I got lucky tonight. And, JT, all the love and, all the props to JT, man. He's getting so good, and he's learning so much, and we're learning together. So that's something amazing for sure, and something that, I'm proud to see, growing up with him and all the other guys.
You got in 7 innings of work. After that, you and Don Mattingly had a conversation in the dugout. What did he say to you?
I was actually a little surprised. I thought I was gonna, I told him, and he asked me how I felt in the 6th inning, and when I came in, I told him, don't ask me until the end of the 9th, and I was feeling great, but this is a long season, and he has his reasons that I want to go back out there. Of course, I always want to go back out there and compete. That's why we get ready, the other 5 days before the start. But we got to win, and that's what matters at the end of the day.
Tom Kohler talked about this in spring training, the importance of building that relationship with your manager. Where is that trust level between you and Mattingly right now?
It's been great the whole year. We have talked, things are being clear the whole time. We have talked, very good things, and, I'm lucky to have him, and him and his whole staff is great. They all do a really good job, and the communication is great.
Echeverria made some great throws tonight. JT Realmuto was able to catch Starling Marte trying to steal second base. What did you see from your defense?
Amazing like always. I feel like when I pitch, I don't have to strike people out. I can just pitch the contact, and they're amazing. I wouldn't change it for anybody else. So I take my chances with them.
The one thing that everyone says about A.J. Ramos, he has ice water in his veins. What was it like watching him in that 9th inning?
I know how he rolls already, and I mean, it gets me a feeling that, I can't explain, and it's just amazing, but it gives me a really crazy feeling.
You always celebrate a great at-bat by your teammate, that RBI double from Christian Yelich. Did this game, especially considering the way that both you and Garrett Cole were pitching tonight, did it feel like a couple of runs could win this ball game?
All due respect, to the Pirates, they got a really good team. They got a really good lineup. And Garrett Cole was throwing the ball incredible. He threw the ball really well. I tip my cap to him, and didn't like much facing him. So that's my hands were hurting too much. But that's just part of the game, and we just keep battling. And this team got a lot of heart. So
always appreciated, Jose. Congratulations on the win, guys.
All right, thank you. Nice job down there, Jessica. Terrific job by Jose Fernandez. And the Marlins, who were able to get to Cole. Remember those 3 consecutive hits in the 7th. Christian Yelich drove in a run, a wild pitch, and the 4 RBI as well. And the Marlins beat the Pirates. What a wild ride this was. Marlins Live is coming up.